DETV News is brought to you by DART, Delaware Public Transit Service, moving you forward.
Hello and welcome to DETV News, Delaware's trusted news source. I'm Lauren Wilson. The race to get more Delawareans vaccinated is on, and that could mean freebies and prizes for you. Plus, June means it's time for Juneteenth celebrations. But topping the news this week is the arrest of an alleged serial killer. A man arrested in connection with the weekend shooting death of a Dunkin' Donuts store manager in North Philadelphia is believed to be the very same man responsible for killing a woman at a cell phone store in Ellesmere. Police are calling that suspect a serial killer because he is said to be connected to a third murder. With more on that story is DETV reporter Matt Ford.
Lauren, about 3 weeks ago, Wilmington area residents were stunned to learn that a man rode his bicycle to a Metro PCS store in Ellesmere and murdered manager Leslie Basilio in cold blood, then stole her Cadillac Escalade. And what's even more frightening, left a grieving family with no answers in sight. 24 days later, police say a man identified as 39-year-old Keith Gibson is now in custody. That man is exactly who police believe to be behind this week's armed robbery and many more. He is the suspect in the fatal shooting and robbery of Christine Lugo, a Dunkin' Donuts manager who detectives say was ambushed by Gibson early Saturday as she opened the store for business. Gibson has a lengthy record, police say. He served time for a homicide and commercial robbery right here in Delaware. He was convicted in 2008 and eventually released. Now, on February 8th of this year, Philadelphia police say he allegedly killed his own mother. And May 15th, authorities say he killed Leslie Ruiz Basilio, the manager of the T-Mobile store in Ellesmere. Officials say after the Dunkin' shooting, he shot and critically wounded a 19-year-old in Wilmington and pistol whipped a female worker at a Rite Aid in Adams Ford Shopping Center in Wilmington this past Tuesday. That's where police finally caught up with him. Police say they tracked Gibson down and took him into custody. Wilmington police said Gibson was wearing a bulletproof vest and was found with a knife and loaded gun, as well as ammunition and drugs when he was arrested around 8:30 a.m. in the 800 block of West 5th Street, just 1 block away from that robbery on the Rite Aid. Gibson was arraigned and committed to the Howard R. Young Correctional Institution on $305,000 cash-only bail and is said to be extradited back to Philadelphia soon. He's charged with first-degree robbery with a slew of charges expected to come. Philadelphia police say Gibson was out on parole after serving more than a decade behind bars for previous homicide and robbery charges. Now, DETV has learned that Keith Gibson was wanted in August of 2017 when Delaware State Police say he allegedly broke into the Tri-State Mall on Naaman's Road up in Claymont and committed a pair of burglaries. Now, at that time, allegedly Gibson was listed as homeless and reportedly had ties to Newcastle and Chester, Pennsylvania. And this sounds familiar. Used a bicycle as his primary means of travel. Now, Lauren, police also say Gibson may be linked to at least 5 other violent crimes around the area. But the tragic events that unfolded over the past weeks have area residents asking, could this potential serial killer have been stopped sooner?
Good question. Thanks, Matt. In other news, Governor John Carney is pushing to get more Delawareans fully vaccinated by July 4th. That's the national goal set by President Biden. In Wilmington, Carney stopped by Mrs. Rubino's Italian restaurant to announce the winners in a vaccination incentive program called DE Wins. Businesses like Mrs. Rubino's are offering vaccinated customers free spaghetti dinners, while others are offering everything from free desserts to box office seats at the Blue Rock Stadium. Cash prizes, free tickets, and more are up for grabs, all for those who get that shot in the arm.
Between 10 and 15,000. I haven't done the math this morning, but we keep emphasizing that. We were at a run rate of about 1,000, 1,100 a day, but that's decreasing. When we announced DE wins, we saw a little bit of a flattening, so a bit of an uptick, and now it seems to be again declining. Well, it's a day-by-day proposition. That's why we need you to get the word out to help us.
DE Wins ends on June 29th, when one lucky winner will randomly be picked for a $300,000 cash prize. You can find a list of participating businesses and what they are offering at dewins.org/partners. Well, it's official. Delaware State University has hired one of the area's most successful coaches to lead its men's basketball program. Stan Waterman beat out more than 90 applicants for the job. During 30 seasons at Sanford's High School, he led the high school to 571 victories, including 8 DIAA state championships. Waterman is a former Howard High and University of Delaware point guard. Stay with us. We'll have more after the break.
I don't remember how it started.
Go to that.
Oh boy. Our back and forth. It always came back. Dad! You probably don't remember what you told me.
That was perfect.
But I heard every word.
On Monday, the Delaware Juneteenth Association kicked off a series of planned events with the raising of the red and blue Juneteenth flag at the Route 9 Library and Innovation Center in Newcastle. Members of the Delaware Black Caucus, along with Governor John Carney and Wilmington City Council President Trippy Congo, attended this event. Bills now sit in Dover and in Washington, D.C. to make the day a permanent paid state and national holiday. For more information about local Juneteenth events, contact JuneteenthDelaware@gmail.com or call 302-314-5863. The Wilmington Youth Rowing Association is sending 25 young people to the Youth Nationals in Florida later this month. That's a record number for the organization. The rowers from 20 Delaware schools will compete June 10th through the 13th. Head coach Tristan Salvadori says the rowers spent plenty of time practicing at the boathouse located on the Christina River, even with the COVID restrictions, because they were so committed to the sport.
The reason this group has been so successful is their drive. We came into this year knowing that we were young and we were ready to compete. They've put in so many extra hours outside of practice. During practice, they all work together. Their goal is they want to be one of the best in the entire country before they graduate, and each and every day they do something to help reach that goal.
DETV wishes the best of luck to the team. Other young athletes ages 4 to 18 will soon have a special place to work out. A brand new facility called Nothing But Net Sports Complex will be opened on the Technology Boulevard in Glasgow. Founder Lonnie Wright says the giant sports facility will have 5 high school basketball courts, a professional-sized court with shot clocks, 12 volleyball courts, and an indoor multi-purpose field.
First thing that I noticed was that there wasn't a teaching. Kids weren't learning growth and development. It was just, we would come out Saturday, we would practice for 10 minutes, and then they were just playing games. That's first. The second thing was that what the program has brought my boys, and what I noticed was that they weren't around all types of people. They weren't around black, white, green, yellow, rich, poor. And that's the nice thing about my program, is that it's social and economic. So my boys, not to say that they were ungrateful, but now they're around all aspects. They understand everybody. They can relate with everyone, and that is so important to me. It really was.
Wright founded the organization in 2017 as a supplement program that teaches young people sports along with life skills like how to resolve conflicts and conduct job interviews. The complex will also house a multimedia program for young people who are interested in a career in sports but are not athletes. The $10 million facility is being paid for through partnerships and donations. Wright said he hopes to open the doors in early 2022. Sounds exciting, and it's a perfect segue to sports with DETV's Nick Alessandrini. Nick, what's up?
Thanks so much, Lauren. Last week, we wrapped up our high school spring sports championships, but still a lot to get to this week. The last time we all got together, the Sixers had just sent the Wizards home in 5 games after an impressive win without Joel Embiid, who missed the contest with a small tear in his meniscus and was listed as day-to-day. A few changes for Doc Rivers heading into Game 2. Danny Green would not start on Trae Young, who had 25 first-half points and finished with 35 and 10 in Game 1. Instead, Defensive Player of the Year candidate Ben Simmons would take the Young assignment, and it was evident in the first half that it was working out better for Philly this time around. Sixers jump out to an early lead. They went up by double digits, 33-20 after 1 quarter of play. However, momentum at the Wells Fargo would change in the second. The Hawks would jump right back in it as they would outscore the Sixers by double digits in the quarter and cut that Sixer lead to 57-55 at the half. The Sixers were still looking for that extra spark in the second half of a close game, and they would find it. After the Sixers blew a 21-point lead, Trae Young would hit 2 free throws in the third to give the Hawks a 80-79 lead. After another minimal effort from the Sixers bench in that first half, it was Shake Milton that would provide that spark. Milton did not play in the first half and fell out of the rotation in the opening series against the Wizards, averaging just 3.4 points for the series, but they stepped up when the Sixers needed him most. Shake would hit a quick 3 upon entering the game that would give the Sixers the lead back 82-80, and then he would lead the Sixers on a 14-0 run that would blow the game wide open. Milton would score 14 points in 14 minutes in a game where the Sixers bench was outscored 31-0 in the first half by the Hawks bench. That 14-0 run would prove to be too much for the Hawks, and the Sixers would earn that victory 118-102. Joel Embiid did not take home that MVP award this season, as Nikola Jokic accepted those honors yesterday, but Embiid showed why he is so dominant. He finished with 40 points and 13 rebounds, and Tobias Harris added 22 in the Game 2 win. Sixers next play on Friday. Well, after a year without the DFRC Blue Gold games honoring outstanding senior players here in Delaware, they returned last night. The DFRC Blue Gold baseball game was held Wednesday evening at Caravel High School, while the Blue Gold softball game returned as well. That game was scheduled at Dover High School. And the DFRC Blue Gold football game will also return on Friday, June 18th at 7 p.m. The game will be back at the University of Delaware with social distancing precautions. For more information, you can visit dfrc.org/Blue Gold football game. And now for our top plays of the week, courtesy of Delaware Live Sports, where we recap some championship games as well from last week. So getting us started at number 4, it's Padua and Sydney Wright, Haley Daugherty, and Anna Pullman. Again, Padua trying to bring home its 12th straight soccer state title. And here's the over-the-top pass, perfect, right over to Haley Daugherty. One more on the cross, and Anna Pullman able to put it in the back of the net. A game winner, 3-2. Padua takes the championship at number 4. On to number 3, the DIAA Golf State Championships at Mapledale in Dover. This is Caleb Wilson from Sussex Tech, and he is going to drill the extra long putt. Had to be a 25 to 30 footer. It was definitely Sunday pin placement, and Caleb Wilson takes care of business for the Ravens of Sussex Tech. Then on to number 2, Appoquinimink here battling in the baseball semifinals. Evan Bolden was their ace all year long, and check out this play. Off the bat, able to bare hand catch it with his non-glove right hand, showing a little emotion after. What a play from Evan Bolden. Check out the slow-mo here. Catches it with his right hand. No glove needed for Evan Bolden. Now on to number 1, Kendall Brown from Caravel. This was one of the best plays we had in all of our state tournaments. 0-0 extra innings, runner on third, just 1 out. Here's the pitch, looks like a single. Kendall Brown comes charging, diving, makes the catch, and then able to double up the runner at third. Double play gets them out of the inning, and then Caravel would win the game 1-0 and the state championship in 11 innings. What a play by Kendall Brown in center field. And those are our top plays of the week, courtesy of Delaware Live Sports. And now, back to you, Lauren.
Thanks, Nick. In other news, here's a word to the wise to pay your water bill if it's due, because starting this week, the city of Wilmington will begin cutting water service off if you don't. Disconnections had been stopped since last March because of the pandemic. Utility shutoffs resumed yesterday in the city. Anyone with delinquent bills is urged to call 311 to set up a payment plan or enroll in the Utility Assistance Program. Any bill 60 days past due could result in a water disconnection. But the city said with the next 6 months, it will focus on the longest and largest delinquencies.
There was a time in my life where I was extremely homesick. I decided that I needed a pet. When I first saw a turtle, my heart was full. He jumped up and kissed me and jumped right into my arms. I immediately went up to the volunteers at the shelter and said, I want him. He's got to come home with me. Now I'm anything but lonely. Every day with Turtle is a perfect day and keeps me company when I'm doing schoolwork. I like it when he jumps up on the table too. He is a veggie thief. He's an incredible companion and my best friend. Can't say that I've met anybody that doesn't love him too. When I adopted Turtle, I discovered all the things that make him unique. He's a little bit of a lot of things, but mostly he's all pure love.
The commissioner of the Delaware Department of Corrections is leaving soon to serve as a special assistant to the governor for the second time. Claire DeMatteis will be tasked with overseeing federal stimulus funds sent to the state in the wake of the pandemic. She oversaw prison reform after the 2017 riot at the James T. Vaughn Correctional Center in Smyrna, where Lieutenant Stephen Floyd was killed during the incident. Governor Carney appointed DeMatteis to the post. It does not require Senate confirmation. In Newark, a carbon monoxide alarm likely saved the lives of a family. Newcastle County first responders found 2 women, a man, a young boy, and a girl suffering from carbon monoxide exposure in an apartment at the 8000 block of Rembrandt Circle earlier this week. The victims were treated at the scene and taken to a hospital. The incident serves as a good reminder to all of us to make sure our carbon monoxide alarms are in working order. Here with more good advice is our health correspondent, Donnie Smith. Donnie?
Thanks, Lauren. I'm excited to be here today at the City of Wilmington's fire headquarters, where I've had the opportunity to spend time with the city's fire prevention team. Joining me today is Inspector Frank Mall, who's going to walk us through the best practices for fire safety when it comes to outdoor grilling.
My name is Inspector Frank Mall. I'm the Public Education Specialist with the Wilmington Fire Department. We're here today to talk to you a little bit about outdoor cooking safety, grill safety, and basically summertime safety. Most of the time, the #1 cause of grilling fires is malfunction of the grill, and also people walking away from the grill, unattentiveness of the grill. So a lot of times people will start grilling and something will happen. They'll get a phone call and they'll walk away from the grill. That's a lot of times when mishaps happen. One of the biggest things we tell folks nowadays is when they go to start up their grill and to start cooking, make sure they turn their cell phones off. That way they're not distracted while they're outside cooking. So some of the things we tell folks when the first time they're grilling is check out the equipment of the grill. Make sure it's working properly. Attach the hose to the propane tank, turn the tank on. We recommend that you have like a little bottle of soapy water, spray it around the tank to make sure there's no leaks. Spray it up and down the hose also to make sure there's no leaks on the hose. A lot of times animals like to chew on the hose, like squirrels, mice, rabbits, and that times we'll have a lot of times we'll get gas-fed fires because of that. Once you have the hose connected to the tank and everything's secure and working properly, go ahead and turn the grill on, make sure it's working right. If you go to start the grill, it doesn't light off after a couple times, go ahead, shut the burners down, turn the burners back on, and try to turn the grill back on again. If it still doesn't ignite, leave it, call the manufacturer or call somebody who knows stuff about fixing grills and see if they can come out and take a look at it, because it's probably some kind of mechanical problem with the grill. There's really no different option for the propane grills and the charcoal. If we recommend, if you are using the charcoal type grill, do the same thing with the propane grills. So if you ever have a fire on the grill, the first thing you want to do is shut the grill off, okay? That's the #1 thing to do. Close the lid, shut the grill off, and if you can, shut the propane tank off. Now, if you were to turn the propane tank on, turn the grill on, and then you have a fire on the tank itself, get away, evacuate the home, get away from it, and call 911 and let the fire department come out and handle it. Most of our grilling fires occur the month of July. Even though everybody starts grilling in May, it seems like the month of July is our most popular time for grill type fires. May it be gas fed or charcoal type grills. So once you're done grilling, the one thing you want to do is make sure it's clean. Just like you would do on your stove top in your own home, you want to make sure that the grill is properly cleaned. You want to disconnect the propane tank from it, store the grill inside if you have a garage if you can, and keep the propane tank outside under a cover. One of the things we recommend also is never grill inside your home or inside a garage. I know a lot of people, if it's going to be starting to be bad weather, like to try to take something inside the garage, the grill inside. We recommend you do not do that. One other thing we recommend, make sure everybody keeps checking their smoke alarms and carbon monoxide alarms in their home. We'd like you to do that monthly. At the bottom of the video here, you'll see our smoke alarm hotline number for here in the city of Wilmington. If you're a resident here in the city of Wilmington, we give away free smoke alarms and free carbon monoxide alarms.
Well, I don't know about you, but I certainly learned a lot today. I'd like to thank the City of Wilmington's Fire Department for allowing us to be here on site for this demonstration. Special thank you to Fire Chief John Looney, Deputy Chief Gabriel Pabon, who's also the city's fire marshal, Lieutenant Jorge Rivera, and of course, Inspector Frank Wall for doing the demonstration. I'm Donnie Bougely-Smith. This is your Health and Lifestyle Report for the week. See you next time. Back to you, Lauren.
Thanks, Donnie. A new beer by a local brewery called Autumn Arch aims to honor unsung heroes of the COVID-19 pandemic. The latest beer has a superhero series for educators who gave it their all to teach virtually during the COVID-19 pandemic. Jimmy Bernard, one of the brewery's founders, says the new edition is called Blackboard Superhero. Earlier in the pandemic, Autumn Arch honored frontline healthcare workers with a beer called Frontline Superhero. If you're interested in tasting the Blackboard Superhero beer, act quickly. The small Newark area brewery only made 10 barrels, and when it's gone, it's gone. There are lots of other events coming up. Here with more on that is Tina B. with Art Undercover.
Thanks, Lauren. You know, using the human body as a canvas is by no means something new. For thousands of years, artists have gone beyond the usual canvas and have used human bodies to display their creative expressions. From face painting for war or ceremony to large dramatic tattoos that signify social rank or coming of age. Tattooing is one of the earliest forms of visual art. The word tattoo is derived from the Tahitian word tatau, which means to mark something. The DETV 28 news crew and I went undercover at the G-Spot Tattoo Studio on Newport Pike in Newport, Delaware, to speak with tattoo artist Katie D'Angelo about the ancient art of tattooing. Derived from the Tahitian word tatau, which means to mark something. The DETV 28 news crew and I went undercover at the G-Spot.
I'm Katie D'Angelo. I'm a tattoo artist at the G-Spot Tattoos. I have now been tattooing about 11 years.
About the ancient art of
I knew I wanted to tattoo right around 23 or 24, which is actually considered fairly late for our industry. My entire childhood was spent drawing and being creative. Tattooing definitely became a way of realizing this is something I can do and be really good at it. I actually decided to find an apprenticeship, and then it very quickly turned into the decision that I wanted to do this as my career.
More than just artistic expression, how we dress and decorate our bodies reflects our identity, our personality, and cultural history.
It can be very important to speak with someone, get an idea of their emotional state for a tattoo. A lot of times we are celebrating and sometimes it's just a silly tattoo idea, but there are a lot of times that we call getting a tattoo ink therapy, to see them not just as a canvas, but as someone who has experienced things and has lots of stories to tell and want to do that through their skin.
Tattoos have now become a fashion choice for many, part of the lifestyle for others, and a way to make a living for some.
Oh, if you don't have passion in your craft, you should be finding a new craft. Tattoos have become so meaningful to clients, and so to take something and not put your all into every single one can really just result in a bad experience overall for both you and your client.
Katie and her tattoo artist colleagues derive inspiration from each other and from the studio's eclectic decor.
The best thing about working with other artists in a shop setting is everyone's different tastes, different styles. Each artist kind of develops their own tastes and preferences and usually represent that in their art, which is a great way to connect with clients, because if you have the same sensibilities, it's just going to lead towards a great tattoo.
Although older millennials are the most likely age group to get a tattoo, baby boomers don't count yourself out.
I absolutely love my older clients. My oldest client was a 74-year-old grandmother who decided that she was not letting society dictate what she did and how she presented herself.
And of course, I asked the question that is on the minds of many of us who have ever considered or are considering getting a tattoo.
Absolutely, tattoos hurt. Anybody that says otherwise is lying through their teeth. Everybody has a different pain tolerance, so the degree at which it hurts is different. Overall, there is a slight discomfort that can range anywhere from a cat scratch all the way up to, oh my gosh, what was I thinking?
Today, tattoos have slowly outgrown their negative stigma. Once viewed as body adornment for mob bosses, fervent religious cult members, and hardened criminals, today's society has come to accept tattoos as works of art, thanks to artists such as George, Katie, Lewis, and Twigs, and the high-quality fine art they make at the G-Spot Tattoo Studio. For more information about the G-Spot or to book a date, go to their website at thegsspottattoos.com. And hardened criminals.
The COVID-19 vaccines can be our chance to get back to our plans, to get back to each other, to life. But it's okay to have questions, like, how were the vaccines tested? In rigorous clinical trials among adults of diverse backgrounds. Find the latest information at getvaccineanswers.org.
The COVID-19 vaccines are going to help us all get back to the moments we miss.
It's totally normal to have questions. I did too. That's why it's so important to get informed.
Ask your doctor and get the facts. It's up to you.
New unemployment figures show that Delaware is among the states still facing challenges getting people back to work as the country rebounds from the economic effects of the pandemic. The latest figures show more than 5,600 initial unemployment claims were filed in Delaware in the week ending May 29th. That's down from 6,400 the previous week before, when Delaware had the largest increase in unemployment claims of any state in the country. Nationwide, the number of Americans seeking unemployment benefits fell last week for the 5th straight week in a row to a new pandemic low. That's according to the Department of Labor. The 35th annual statewide law enforcement torch run for Special Olympics was held today. The 2021 torch run was a modified event taking place one day instead of the traditional 3. The torch had 2 legs. One departed from Georgetown and the second left from Middletown. Both legs ended in Dover with a ceremony on the Legislative Mall. Delaware law enforcement for Special Olympics has raised more than $9 million to support the year-round Special Olympics Delaware program for children and adults with intellectual disabilities. Stay with us. There's more after the break. Find yourself forgetting to bring your own bag to the grocery store? You might want to bring some extra money to pay for them because there may be some extra changes coming to the plastic bag ban. Lawmakers recently introduced a bill to double down on plastic shopping bag restrictions, making it even harder for stores to offer any sort of plastic bag at the checkout. You may have noticed grocery stores and other retailers have simply replaced the thinner single-use plastic bags with thicker ones. Environmentalists say that's the problem. Even though the thicker bags can be reused, customers don't appear to be bringing them back. Local environmental officials and advocates say the thicker bags could actually be more harmful to the environment. A revised bill would raise the threshold for the plastic bag thickness. Other reusable bags that stores could offer would have to be made of durable fabric with stitched handles. Paper bags would still be allowed at checkouts at no cost. The General Assembly may try to quickly pass that bill before the end of the legislative session on June 30th. Also in the Dover Capitol, the Delaware General Assembly is allowing some members of the public to return to the building and listen to floor debates in person for the first time since the COVID-19 pandemic began. 25 people each will be allowed in the House and in the Senate for the remaining days of the legislative year that ends on June 30th. Masks will be required and attendees will sit in the galleries. You can reserve seats on the General Assembly website. Sign-ups will close either once all of the seats have been reserved or at 10 a.m. the next morning, whichever comes first. Capitol Police will be given the names of those who have reserved seats. And finally tonight, a young boy from India made it into the Guinness World Book of Records this week by climbing 50 steps while hula hooping in just 18.28 seconds. The previous record was set by an American in the year 2018 in 23.39 seconds. The video showing the record-breaking task has taken the internet by a storm, and there has been a shower of praises for the boy, who says he's been practicing for 2 years. Well, that's our Week in Review. I'm Lauren Wilson. Thank you for watching.
DETV News is brought to you by DART, Delaware Public Transit Service, moving